You know that one person your mind keeps going back to, even when you don't want it. You could be busy, distracted, even talking to someone else, and suddenly they're there again. And the worst part is, nothing even triggered it, your brain just went there on its own. You start wondering why out of everyone, it's always this one specific person. Even when you try focusing on something else, your thoughts quietly circle back again. Feels like your mind is stuck on them without asking for your permission. And the strange part is, sometimes nothing even happened recently with that person. Yet your brain keeps bringing them up like something unfinished is still there. You replay conversations, small moments, even things that didn't seem important before. And slowly, it starts feeling like you're more attached than you want to admit. You might notice this more when you're alone, like during quiet nights or long walks. That's when your mind becomes louder, and their presence feels stronger than usual. It's not because you're weak. It's because your brain holds onto emotional meaning. When something feels unresolved, your mind keeps revisiting it, trying to make sense. So it replays the same person again and again, like it's searching for closure. Even if nothing is actually happening anymore, your brain doesn't fully register that. It still treats that connection like an open tab that hasn't been closed. And every time you remember them, it feels like reopening that same unfinished feeling. That's why it doesn't fade easily, because it's not just memory, it's emotional attachment. And emotional attachment doesn't disappear just because the situation changed. Now think about times when you're busy, like working or studying something important. Even then, a small trigger suddenly brings them back into your mind again. Maybe a word, a song, or even a random detail reminds you of them. Your brain connects patterns faster than you realize, especially with emotional memories, so it keeps linking everyday moments back to that same person automatically. People think it's obsession, but it's actually your brain trying to process something deeper. It's trying to understand what that person meant to you emotionally, and more importantly, why it still feels unfinished inside your mind. That's why even small reminders feel stronger than they logically should. Because your mind isn't reacting to now, it's reacting to something stored earlier. Sometimes you even imagine conversations that never happened but feel strangely real. You think about what you could have said or how things could have gone differently. This happens because your brain wants a version where things make more sense. It builds alternate endings just to reduce that internal tension you feel. But instead of resolving it, it keeps you mentally connected to that person. So even imaginary moments start feeling emotionally real over time. And the more you repeat them, the stronger that connection becomes inside you. It's not about them anymore, it's about how your mind holds on to meaning. That's why letting go mentally feels harder than letting go physically, because the connection exists inside your thoughts, not just your real life. You might also notice this when you're around other people in social situations. You're talking, smiling, but part of your mind is still somewhere else. You compare small things unconsciously, like how others feel versus how they felt, and suddenly that same person feels different from everyone else again. This happens because your brain created a unique emotional imprint around them. It's not just about who they are, but how they made you feel, and your mind keeps returning to that feeling, not just the person. That's why no one else seems to replace that space easily. Even if logically you know things are different now, emotionally, your brain still treats that connection as something unfinished. It can even show up when you're trying to move forward or meet new people. You tell yourself you're over it, but your thoughts don't fully agree. Because your brain doesn't follow decisions, it follows emotional patterns. And those patterns take time to change, especially when they're deeply formed. So even when you move ahead, part of your mind stays behind. Not because you want it to, but because it hasn't processed everything yet. People often think time alone fixes this. But that's not entirely true. Time helps, but understanding what you felt matters even more. Because your mind is holding on to meaning, not just memories. And meaning doesn't fade until it feels complete internally. You might even notice this during random quiet moments like before falling asleep. That's when your thoughts slow down and deeper patterns start showing up. Your mind replays things not to hurt you, but to process unfinished emotions. It's trying to organize something that still feels unclear inside you, and until it feels resolved, it keeps bringing that person back again. That's why it feels repetitive, almost like you're stuck in a loop. But it's not random, it's your brain searching for emotional clarity, even if you don't consciously realize what that clarity actually is. So the cycle continues quietly in the background of your thoughts. You start wondering why it hasn't stopped yet. The truth is, your mind doesn't let go of what it hasn't understood. It keeps revisiting what felt important but never fully made sense. That's why this one person stays, while others fade more easily. Because something about them created a deeper emotional imprint in you, and your brain is still trying to organize that experience internally. It's not about missing them, it's about processing what they represented. And until that meaning settles, your thoughts keep returning there naturally. So every time they appear in your mind, it's not random at all. It's your brain continuing a process you haven't fully noticed yet. So tell me, is it really about them or something deeper inside you?